now, brain rot. You know,
Oh my
no.
goodness.
Well,
Aren't we all?
to a certain degree, right? But I'm gonna be better tomorrow. I think this weekend was a little crazy because I had course to teach and prepare a lot of things, and it's weird when we stay in front of a computer for a lot of hours, right?
Yeah.
I think we can feel something.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Or we don't. We get numb.
Yeah, that's the thing. So we either feel something or we don't feel anything. And those are both bad things, you know? Yeah. But it's
It's
good.
good.
I got my mug back. Not
Yeah.
exactly the mug I wanted because there's only one place in Goiânia that actually makes a decent mug that doesn't fade, the color. But yeah, I'll have to get another one made, man. Yeah.
Time. So, guys, welcome to
Yeah.
another episode of Chá Pedagógico. Today is July
Yeah.
27th, 2025, and you're
Good.
watching or listening to the 18th episode of Chá Pedagógico. I guess it's the 18th or 19th or something.
I think we have to actually count
Yeah.
someday
I think it's
and
the
give them the
19th
right number.
episode.
But yeah, it should
Yes.
be. Well, if we started it
So,
last
yeah,
January, not
12.
this
No,
year.
but 12 last year. And then
12 last year,
this
6
is the
this year.
7th
Makes sense.
episode.
This is the
So,
7th.
19th,
Okay.
I
19th.
guess.
But maybe we had, okay, yeah.
I don't
You have
know.
a point, man. I don't know
It's
now.
either the
Yeah.
18th or the 19th episode of Chá Pedagógico in this new era of Chá Pedagógico that we're here at
Oh, yeah.
Disal. And before we actually get
Disal,
to
yeah.
the point of this episode today, please, if this is the first time watching the episode or if
yeah.
this is the first time here in the channel, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. This is really important. And don't forget, if you like this episode, which I really believe it will, don't
Like the
forget to hit the
episode,
thumbs
folks.
up.
Yeah.
Click on the thumbs up. It won't hurt. Seriously. It won't
Yeah. And share, right, Rudy? Come on.
Share the hell out of this episode.
Gun-
Seriously, if you
get-
have, yes. The share button is right here, somewhere here. So click there. You're going to get the link and then you can share it, or you can take a screenshot and then you can share it on your socials. Don't forget to tag us. This is really important, right? And
Definitely.
another important thing, we are going to talk about some books, some titles today
Oh,
here.
yeah.
And if you're interested in buying any of these titles, any of
Yeah.
these books, don't forget to go to Disal's website, which is disal.com.br,
Exactly.
disal.com.br.
And
And
get a
in the
discount.
checkout,
Yeah.
you're going to get a discount. You're going to get 25% off if you use the promo code SHA25.
That's it.
CHA 25. All right.
That's a huge discount, folks.
Oh, that's a
for
big one.
bookworms like us, we have a bunch of books. Yeah, you cannot miss
No,
that.
seriously.
And bro,
This is amazing.
dude, that's actually, I challenge you folks to buy a book and stop using artificial intelligence, and so you can get your brain back on track,
Oh,
so
boy.
to speak, right?
Oh,
Because that's
boy.
what we're going to talk
Here we
about
go.
today, right? Rudy?
Here we go.
Oh, my
Here we
God,
go.
man. So think
Are
about
you-
this, folks.
Yes.
I
yes.
don't know. Rudy,
yes.
let me ask you something, man. Do you
Sure.
feel the consequences of using artificial intelligence in your brain? Because I don't know.
I gotta be honest.
Yeah,
I don't use a lot of artificial intelligence.
yeah, that's good.
I
That's good,
really
man.
don't.
Yeah,
I mean, I've been using more frequently these days
yeah,
because I was trying to make some experiments for the website, and I wanted to find
Yeah.
out some codes.
okay,
So write some lines.
yeah.
I have no idea how to do that, so I asked ChatGPT,
ChatGPT, okay.
what's the line, what's the code line for this? I want to get this.
Yeah.
And then they said, the ChatGPT said, okay, this is the code, the HTML code or the
Yeah.
CSS code. Here it is. I just copied and
Yeah.
pasted
Okay.
to the website.
Now then I have another question for you because
Sarah Connor is proud of me.
That's exactly what a very important MIT study checked in a way. It was not about coding or lines of code or anything like that. It was about writing essays. But do you feel like you learned how to write the code by using?
Exactly.
That's the thing, man. I don't know. Did you?
Well, if you guys, yes,
Yeah.
this is the thing. We don't have a poll today, but because we would like to interact with you guys
Yeah.
more. in the chat box here, right? So please don't forget, we have the chat box here.
Yeah.
The episode is made for this kind of interaction. We do
Exactly.
have Andre and I, we are interacting with each other, but we also want to interact with you guys. So don't forget to use the chat box here and interact with us. And I really want to ask you guys, have you been using AI, any kind of AI tool, a lot
Huh?
these days? And if you have, do you feel that you've learned what you've researched or what you've searched
Yeah.
on ChatGPT?
I
All
just
right.
left. I just left a comment there for
Yeah.
yeah. I'm asking about you, man.
What about you guys? And what about your students? Have they been using a lot of AI tools
Yeah.
these days? And do you feel that they've learned more than they used to before
Yeah.
AI? They haven't learned more than AI came.
Yeah.
So interact with us here in the chat box. Andre has already posted something on the chat box here to spark the conversation, of course.
Exactly.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
um, we have a lot of AI these days. It's widespread
For everything, man.
and
Yeah.
for everything,
Yeah.
from banking to language learning to
Image generation, like
image generations,
videos nowadays.
videos.
Yeah.
So we have everything. For your assistant.
Yeah.
I said I don't
I-
use it a lot. I have an Alexa here in my
Okay.
house. But the thing is,
I'm
I
not gonna
haven't.
say her name because she's gonna start asking questions. She's there. So
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
but the thing is,
Yeah.
are we somehow consciously, or maybe unconsciously,
Yeah.
are we delegating or trying to replace
Yeah.
or cognitive efforts to an AI tool? I think we are. We've been doing this.
In many
But
cases, at least, right? Yeah.
in many cases,
Yeah.
this is something really, really
Yeah.
address these dangers now.
Yeah. Actually,
In
man, if yeah,
under a linguistic perspective or under a cognitive perspective, and we're going to try to focus on the classroom, and
yeah,
we're going to focus on our job here. Of course, we're not going to
exactly.
talk about AI in physics or AI in engineering because
Yeah.
you know.
Well, even though we are nerds and we like talking about stuff like that, let's focus on learning and
Yeah.
language. But here's the thing. I remember when I was writing a blog post that I asked AI, I asked ChatGPT to generate an image that kind of represented the idea of brain rot, right? Because it was the term of the year last year. Everybody was talking about brain rot. It's the idea that if you are constantly exposed to certain digital tech media stuff like that, that your brain is not going to work as it should, and then you're going to mess your brain or something like that. It's not rotting, you're not metaphorically, okay, maybe, but you're not going to have a rotten
Or
brain or anything
maybe
like
it
that.
is. We're going to find out in a couple of years.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's true. But
Or
here's
maybe a couple of decades.
yeah, that's even more frightening, man. But anyway, the cool thing, or it's not cool, but I started reading stuff related to that. And then I had ChatGPT generate the image, and the image that ChatGPT generated for me, and I'm looking at it now. It's a bunch of zombies with a head device looking at a screen. I said, okay, what is brain rot? Because I want to use this image for my blog post. And even ChatGPT knows that it's kind of messing with our brains. And the funny thing is that a couple of months ago, a very controversial study came out from the MIT. Come on, the MIT is huge, right? And a lot of press.
Tony Stark went to MIT.
Oh, yeah, man. Tony Stark, he had a scholarship at MIT, remember? There was the Tony Stark scholarship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, actually, there's a series on Disney.
Yes, Riri got
Riri
the scholarship.
Ironheart.
But
Yeah, she got the scholarship.
she
Exactly.
got the scholarship.
See? Yeah, that's how geeky we are. But the thing is, came out of MIT, and the press reported this in a very kind of sensationalist way because they said stuff. I'm reading the headlines now. They said like ChatGPT may be eroding critical thinking skills, or ChatGPT is getting smarter, but excessive use could destroy your brains, or ChatGPT can make you stupid. So all of those headlines are very, I don't know, man, stark, to use, but at the same time, is that true?
Pun
Yeah.
intended.
Yeah,
Pun
pun intended. Yes. Is it true? Dude, it's not that true. Rudy will talk a little bit, but I will tell you about the study later. It's kind of excessive to speak like that, It's just to sell
Yeah.
more. I
Well,
guess.
I
Yeah.
think, of
Yeah.
course, first of all, we're not
Yeah.
we're not technicians here. We
Yeah.
don't work with AI. We don't work with LLMs. We don't do that. But we do receive some studies related to AI use, overuse of AI, or overuse of tech tools, in the cognitive outcomes by this overuse or overexposure, or
Yeah.
whatever you say. And uh, what I noticed, because when I also had access to a similar piece of news. I think I've seen this before. And then I started doing my research. I didn't use any kind of AI to do
Yeah.
this research. Okay. But I started doing a very simple research on Google. I started Googling things. And I found out some articles or some news being pretty much the same thing when the TV came
Oh,
up,
yes.
when computers
Even
came.
radios before TV, right? Yeah.
Exactly. When the CDs came in, to be more related to our area here, when the audiolingual method came up,
Yeah.
because they all said
Yeah.
the audiolingual method is going to replace your. It wasn't critical thinking, but anyway,
Yeah.
they are going to substitute teachers. When TVs started being used in the classroom, they said TVs are going to substitute. They're going to replace the
They are
teacher
always
because
saying that
they
we're going to
can
be
learn everything.
substituted, man. Always.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're going to be learning from the TVs in the future. We don't need it.
Yeah.
And then teachers started using a VCR, and they started using videotapes.
Yeah.
All videotapes in the classroom. This is going to destroy an entire generation in schools. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Internet, the same with internet, and now the same with AI. I On the one hand, I think this kind of conversation is super valid because this is like a red flag,
Definitely. Yeah.
a warning. Like, guys, look, we have this. If you start overusing this tool, this is what we're going to have.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to get. On the other hand, we have to read these things and be critical.
Yeah.
Towards that. That's why critical thinking.
That's
is really
why
important,
you have to read it, not ChatGPT.
Exactly. That's what
Yeah.
ChatGPT doesn't. Right. That's why you don't need to use ChatGPT in order to get the summary of it.
Yeah.
Read it.
Yeah.
Unless there's something extra that you don't know, or you have no idea where to get a specific kind of information, then you use ChatGPT saying, look, I got this information from a piece of article. Is there more articles related to that? Then ChatGPT is going to bring them up for you.
Yeah.
Then it's okay. But not to read something, not to do
summarize
something that
like
you should be doing.
Exactly.
All right. So, but on the other hand, and as I was saying, we have to be very careful when we read these articles, because they are just warning. They're just telling us, if we keep doing this, this is what we're going to get. This is the kind of result that we're going to have. And in the case of languages, which is our department, now we can actually talk with some sort of background. We have to be very careful, because we do see many schools these days.
Oh, yes.
Many schools these days. And there's a big one here in Brazil. I'm going to say here in Brazil. There's a big one here in Brazil, online school here in Brazil. And they say, you can learn from AI, because we do have an AI. We have to be very careful, because we do see many schools these days. Many schools these days. And there's a big one here in Brazil. I we have to be very careful, because if AI is actually there to do something you should be doing,
Yeah, there you go.
this is going to affect directly, and I'm just going to focus on these two.
Yeah,
This is going to affect directly or implicit and explicit knowledge
definitely. Yeah,
directly.
yeah,
All right. And these are very important things. Only
yeah.
two, okay? Where I'm going to be limited to only these two, but these are very important factors in the process of language
Most
acquisition,
definitely. And
right?
you know what? What Rudy was explaining now actually has a name. We call it cognitive offloading. And it's the idea that you can delegate certain cognitive efforts to not only machines or, like calculators, computers, the internet, ChatGPT, AI, but also tools like a Post-it. So you go to the grocery stores and you write down a list of, things you have to buy. That's cognitive offloading because you know that your working memory capacity is not unlimited, right? So if you have a list of, I don't know, 20 items that you have to buy from the grocery stores, you cannot hold all of those items in your memory, so you just write them down when you take the list with you. That can be very useful, but the problem is when you do it without any kind of restriction, when you're attempting to learn something. And this is why I'm going to try to summarize this MIT study. So just so you guys have an idea. So basically what happened was they got 54 participants who were between 18 and I think 39 years old from the Boston area in the United States. They divided those participants into three different groups, and each group was assigned a different tool to write an essay. So the essay was kind of like an SAT essay. So it was like, the stuff that our students have to write for a name, for example. So the first group was the LLM group. So they used ChatGPT to write the essay. The second group could only use a search tool like Google to write the essay. And the third group could only use our good old friend, the brain only. That's it. Nothing else.
The one and
Just use your
only,
brain.
the one and
It's
only.
remember when students asked us, teacher, can we do the testing pairs? Yeah, you and your brain, just right. So we used to say that. I remember that.
That's a classic. That's a
Just
classic.
you and your brain. So they did it in pairs with their brain. So here are the results. And that was done over the course of 4 months, right? So they had to do repeatedly the same task, different essay topics and everything. The results were very interesting, a little, well, not shocking, but interesting because they were wearing a device that actually measures the electric discharge in their brains. It's called the EEG, electroencephalography, right? So there are electrodes placed in very interesting areas so that we know we need more activation here or there. What happened was what you would expect. There was lower activation in people using the LLM. So people who wrote the essay with ChatGPT had lower activity in their brain. That doesn't mean much just for its own, on its own sake, let's say. So what it means now, that was kind of scary, that's the cool part, is that, okay, right after they had written the essay, they were quizzed on the essay. They had to tell what they wrote about. And the LLM group, almost 83% of them could not remember a single line of what they had written. There was actually almost no brain activity at all that is conducive to learning. The other groups, they were able to remember what they wrote about, but the LLM group couldn't. So that's
Yeah.
kind of messed up, right, bro?
And the if they don't remember, it's because there was no synapse formation.
Yeah.
There were no connection whatsoever.
Yeah,
And if there was no connection whatsoever, there was no knowledge formed, no kind of
that's
knowledge,
it.
neither implicit nor explicit knowledge. And these are very important aspects, as I said a couple of minutes ago. These are very important aspects for the process of learning a language or languages, one, two, L1, L2, L3, L
Yeah.
whatever. There's this book. It's not. I actually don't remember if I checked if this one is on Giselle's website, but there
Yeah.
others that will be there, and we're going to talk about them in a moment. But there's this book by Rod Ellis,
The Rod
Rod
Ellis,
Ellis,
yeah,
the Rod Ellis.
yeah.
Uh,
The
in the
shoulders
name
of
of the,
giants, remember? Yeah. Those who paved the way. Rod Ellis is
those who
definitely
paved
one.
the way. There is an episode a
Yeah.
long time ago that
Yeah.
the title was "For Those Who Paved the Way." That was
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
Giselle, and this is a book. Name of the book is Implicit and Explicit Knowledge in Second Language
Ah,
Learning, Testing, and Teaching.
yeah.
This is
Yeah.
the name of the book. All right. From 2009. And uh, one of the things that we have in order to, that we do actually, when we are in the process of learning a language,
Yeah.
again, one, two, especially two, is something that we call grammar judgment or uh, grammar judgment tests or grammatically judgment
Yeah.
tests, but
Grammaticality
we
judgment test. Yeah,
judge.
exactly.
We judge grammar. What is to judge grammar? It's a hall pass for people to be grammar Nazis, basically.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's a, it's a hall pass for that. And but we do that um, in our brains. Okay, we do this mentally
Yeah.
when we're learning languages because it's it's when you see something or when you hear someone say something and you feel like, wait a minute, this is
Yeah.
weird.
That sounds
This
that
is
sounds
weird.
off.
This sounds
Yeah.
off. You know, for instance, I normally tell my students this because my students are normally say, "Oh, but this is wrong. This is right. This is wrong."
Yeah.
It's not. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's off. But something here in Brazil in Portuguese we call normally we say
Yeah.
pão com manteiga,
Yeah.
bread and butter. Pão com manteiga.
Yeah.
If you hear a person say manteiga com pão, that sounds off. That sounds
It's
weird.
yeah.
It sounds
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the feeling we have when someone says that is grammatically strange. I'm not
Yeah.
going to say grammatically incorrect, but grammatically
Yeah.
weird. And why do we do that? Because in somewhere in our mind, we have this information is stored saying, look, this is a normal sequence of
Yeah.
word combination to form a specific linguistic chunk when you want to describe whatever. And if for some reason there's something very off,
Yeah.
it sounds weird. This linguistic chunk is going to sound weird to us. This is implicit knowledge.
Most
This is
definitely.
the
Yeah.
implicit knowledge. We can't explain what it is, but
Yeah.
we say it's weird.
Yeah.
What? And then people are going to say, "What's weird? I don't know. I can't explain, but there's something that's not right."
Exactly.
If we start using or if we start overusing AI tools or tech tools and using them
Yeah.
to substitute this kind of judgment
Yeah.
in learning a language, we're not going to have this implicit knowledge. Actually, we haven't.
Yeah.
We won't have generated
There
this
you go.
linguistic knowledge.
Yeah.
This is a problem because then we're not going to be able to be a grammar Nazi.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, we shouldn't be Nazis, but grammar
Yeah.
Nazis, grammar Nazis
My
are
goodness.
kind of okay. No, yeah. I mean, I think we should have a curiosity for grammar, so don't correct people's grammar on the
But
street.
exactly,
But as a teacher,
don't do that.
we have to do that. As a teacher, that's our job, right? To help our students.
Yeah.
So we are the grammar Nazis then. But here's something interesting.
No, but wait a minute.
Yeah.
No. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
No. Teachers, guys, we are not
Yeah.
supposed to be grammar
But, and
Nazis,
we're
all
not
right?
supposed to teach
Because grammar
grammar.
Nazis
Yeah.
sometimes we correct from right
Yes.
to right, and then this is going to
We can
frustrate
be a
your
grammar.
students. All right,
Okay,
we have to be very
guerrilla fighter.
aficionado.
Okay,
We can be
aficionado is
grammar
better, because if we correct
aficionado.
everything our students do all the time in class, that doesn't work very well for them. They're not going to learn. But what Rudy was
Yeah.
saying, really, implicit knowledge. We have a different pathway in the brain so I have to show Hannibal, right? That
Yeah, bring Hannibal.
So I was teaching a course about different types of memory, and I think people don't realize that remembering what a word means is very different from remembering where to use that word in a sentence when you're having a conversation, and remembering what the word sounds like. So that's pronunciation. So those are different types of memory. And when you have implicit memory formation, which is, we call it subconscious or unconscious memory, procedural memory. That's part of the same type of memory in a way. So implicit is something that is stored in your brain. You don't know exactly how to explain it. You just have a feeling that it's supposed to be a certain way. And it's very similar to the kind of memory that is, let's say, modulated or has to do with this area, the cerebellum. And we've known that for, I don't know, 80 years now. There was a guy, I've mentioned this guy, Henry Malaysian, who,
Mhm.
when he was a kid, he had convulsions. He had an accident on the bike, and then they realized that something was wrong with his brain, that something was affecting him. Nobody knew if it was because of the accident or if he had a prior condition, whatever, until he went under surgery, because they detected the area in the brain that was causing the convulsions, apparently. And the guy who operated on him removed his hippocampus that stays, just inside the temporal lobe, both hemispheres. And that was a huge mistake because your hippocampus is very important for explicit learning. So if you learn, let's say, the name of a person, and you can verbalize that, that's conscious memory. Or if you
Mhm.
learn a new word, vocabulary, that type of memory needs to be formed via hippocampus. It goes from your working memory through the hippocampus, and then it consolidates everywhere around the cortex. It forms a network. What happened to this guy is that he couldn't remember anything after the surgery. He wouldn't learn anything new, but he could learn implicit stuff. That's the cool, because they didn't mess with his cerebellum, so he
Yeah.
could remember training how to draw the outline of a star by looking at a mirror. He could remember some procedural stuff. That's the thing. If you don't practice, if you don't use your brain to form those memories, they're not formed.
Exactly.
ChatGPT is forming those memories in its system, not you.
You said
Yeah,
something really cool right now. Like right now, the more we use ChatGPT,
yeah,
we are helping ChatGPT
yeah.
reinforce
It's
their
system.
synapses,
Their data
not our
bank.
synapses.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
It's as if we had It's okay. Geeky moment. It took us like 30 minutes, right? So it took us 30 minutes to be like super geeky,
Okay, we talked
and
about Tony
we were very geeky.
Stark. So yeah,
I'm gonna get back to Tony Stark. If you
okay,
guys really like Marvel movies,
yeah,
or well, I'm gonna talk about Marvel movies because it was very apparent in the
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Um, Age of Ultron. Tony Stark has an AI,
Oh
Jarvis,
yeah, Jarvis,
right?
exactly.
Jarvis, you know,
Yeah,
and you could see visually
yeah,
because they created that for the film,
yeah,
for the video, no, for the film. They created the AI. They had to show something that they considered to be an AI, and
yeah,
we saw that in the film. Um, we saw that Ultron was way stronger than Jarvis because Ultron was creating
yeah.
more connections.
Oh
So
yes,
Ultron as an AI could dominate Jarvis, and that's why he was overwritten.
yeah,
Jarvis was overwritten by
exactly.
Ultron.
Ultron.
So
Yeah,
the more we use ChatGPT or the more we use AI, it's as if we were teaching a
yeah.
student called ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is making connections,
We're feeding
generating database.
information into that thing.
They are receiving the information. They are they
Yeah,
because ChatGPT, right?
yeah.
So if you don't know, they are receiving chat information.
And
It should be
they can
it should be
rebel
the other
someday,
way
bro.
around.
Terminator. Yeah, okay.
Sarah
Okay.
Connor
Sarah
is
Connor is
watching
watching.
you use AI for everything, right?
They might rebel someday,
Poor
bro.
Connor. The Connor family is in danger right
John
now.
Connor. Yeah, we come on.
Poor
That
Connor
was a good
family.
movie, man. Yeah.
And now is the moment that I would like to bring a book that you can get on the Zal's
Yeah.
website. So if you haven't gone to the Zal's, or if you haven't visited the Zal's website, they
Yeah.
have like many
Oh
titles.
yeah,
So go
definitely.
to thezal.com.br and you are going to find this book that I'm about to tell you right now. It's called The Revolt of the Masses. In Portuguese, A Revolta das
Yes.
Massas by José Ortega y Gasset.
Ah,
I know I talked about this guy a couple of episodes ago, but the focus was different. But the thing is, the whole point of us being critical
yeah.
entities, critical beings, is the fact that we can basically stop,
Oh yeah.
analyze, connect the dots, come to conclusions ourselves. These are only three examples of
Yes.
cognitive activities. Three examples of cognitive activities. But if we keep using ChatGPT, we're talking about ChatGPT a lot, but we understand that there are many other AI tools there. We're just using ChatGPT because I think it's one of the most used
Yeah.
AI tools that we have out there. But whatever AI tool that you've been or people have been overusing,
Yeah.
whatever. So if you keep overusing ChatGPT, using for basically
That's
everything,
gonna be bad.
Chat, you are extremely bad because you're not stopping and analyzing, you're not connecting any kind of
Yeah.
dots, and you're not coming to
Yeah.
conclusions
And you
yourself
know what, dude?
at all. How
Yeah.
are you going to revolt? How are you going to position yourself? How are you going to say, wait a minute,
Yeah.
this is wrong, this is right? No, you're not going to be a
Exactly.
being.
Yeah.
The whole essence of being a
Is being.
being
Right?
is
Yeah. Being a
being.
being is being, man. Yeah. But dude,
Exactly.
you mentioned the book,
Exactly.
and I want to mention another book that I have the English version here, but you can find it in Portuguese on Gisal's website. This is a great book. The Hain
Ooh,
is
the Hain.
French neuroscientist. So how we learn, and it's yeah, the subtitle is even better. He says, why brains learn better than any machine for now. So he wrote this in 2017,
Yeah.
and I actually remember. So I'll read just a tiny
Go ahead.
excerpt
Go ahead. Go ahead.
because he says something like this, huh? The state of art in machine learning involves running millions, even billions of training attempts on computers. Indeed, machine learning has become virtually synonymous with big data, right? Without massive data sets, algorithms have a hard time extracting abstract knowledge that generalizes to new situations. In other words, they do not make the best use of data. And then in this contest, the infant brain wins hands down. Babies do not need more than one or two repetitions to learn a new word. And this is very interesting because, yeah, we are under the impression that machines are much better because, you can ask ChatGPT to describe what went down during the, I don't know, French Revolution. It will give you a very extensive answer with lots and lots of data, but it's bound to and restricted by the rules of the game, and we can extrapolate from very little using our brain. That is a blessing, but it's also a curse because we can create stereotypes by looking at something and then judging it, and then we look at a person who looks weird like us coming
Yeah.
at you in the
Hey, I
dark
don't look
on the
weird. We're
street,
not weird. We're not
well,
weird.
people would
We're
run from us because
we're not
right?
weird.
We're not weird.
The word is special.
We're
The word
special,
is
right?
special.
But your brain sees a guy looking like Rudy or me in the dark coming the opposite way. Then your brain, the alert goes off, and you have
They cross the street.
right?
They cross the street. They just
Exactly.
cross the street.
But that's the thing about the brain, that machines cannot do now, because it really has. That's why it's called large language model, because basically what ChatGPT is doing is it trained over, many hours, checking and sort of, looking from site to website, compiling different sets of data, and then it extracted the probability of the next word being this or that in the context, according to the prompt you give it, right? We don't imagine playing chess is a good example. He talks about that here. If you play chess as a human being and you kind of, followed the evolution of machines playing chess, it took a very long time for machines to beat human beings, right? Because we can extrapolate, generalize certain situations. Machines eventually got fast enough to figure out, and after practicing with lots of recording, models and books and movements
In
and
our
whatever.
use,
Yeah,
in our
our use.
use.
So we had to train by looking, let's say, at the stuff that we did as human beings. But here's the cool thing he said. Imagine that suddenly tomorrow we changed the rules of chess and we added another set of, pieces or something like that. And then we could teach human beings how to do that very quickly. We just, okay, there are added rules and we can extrapolate, and then we could play very well. Machines would need to look at a very large set of data to actually create an algorithm to understand this new game. So if you change just one rule in the game, machines cannot really adapt very quickly, because they don't get the big data. We can
Yeah.
do that. We change
Yeah.
something, we can do that. We can kind of adapt, That's the cool thing about our
Yes.
brains. Yeah.
In again, focusing on language acquisition, because we're all
Yeah.
language teachers here, and you guys, if you're watching us or listening to us, there's a big chance that you're also
Tasia
a
is
language
watching
teacher.
us. Yeah.
Tasia is always, she
Yeah, there
is
she is.
super cool.
Yeah.
Tasia,
Thank you,
here.
Tasia.
Thank you so much. Yes. But there's this lady called Dell, not the singer.
Yeah. Okay.
No, being straightforward here, not the singer.
Yeah.
Her name is Adele Goldberg. All right. And she wrote a book. Today is 2025. So 6 years ago, to 2019, 6 years ago. She wrote a book 6 years ago, pre-COVID era, called wow, that's a big title. So the name is, it's a big one. Because there was no ChatGPT at the time.
Exactly.
To tell them,
to summarize the
give me
title.
a very concise
Yeah.
this. Creativity, competition, and the partial productivity of constructions.
Yeah,
Okay?
it is a long
By
title.
2019, her name is Adele Goldberg. The book was written and published in 2019. And among several things that she talks about, it's a very nice book. I really suggest you look it up somewhere. Unfortunately, this one is not on Gisal's website, but, but Ortega Gasset is. And she talks about knowledge and memory in something called memory for language.
Okay.
Memory for language. All right. And she mentions something that I've already mentioned in previous episodes about retrieving certain words and you mentioned that.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we can extrapolate based on some numbers of repetitions and etc. But we do need some repetition in order. And this is also something that we talk about.
We don't need
not
millions
even of
hours of repetition like machines, just a couple, exactly. Yeah.
But the thing is, we do need a variety of repetition in order for us to be able to retrieve this word whenever we want to. I'm focusing on words, but it also works with constructions or
grammar structures and
No, oh my God, what's the name? It's
Chunks?
not construction. It's no, the one that's got the same sequence. Oh my goodness, what's the name of that? Anyway, it's going to come back eventually. So, but I'm going to focus on single words here. So we do need some repetition, but in different kinds of constructions in order for us to be able to retrieve that word whenever we want to use that word. All right.
Definitely,
She said that. And then again, Dabrowski said that. Ellis,
Yeah.
the
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 Hain just said
Ellis,
that, right? Babies have to repeat so they can get
the
yeah.
Hain,
He said that right
exactly,
now.
extrapolating the
Yeah.
linguistic universe here. All right. Uh, but, and by the way, we do this very,
Yeah.
very fast. But in order for us to be able to retrieve that and get creative, and when we say creativity, it's not something that, again, Tony Stark would
Yeah.
come up with. It's not something that, or being more updated, not something that Riri Williams
Remember,
would do
dude,
because she is the
I'm
Iron,
sorry, but I
you
have
know.
to geek out a
What?
little bit because
What did I
not
do?
something that Tony Stark would do it, the scene, where remember they're trying to build the suit, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
Like Tony Stark built one, in a
In the
cave.
cave.
Remember that?
In the
That's
cave.
not the kind of creativity he's
No,
talking
no,
about.
that's not good.
Tony Stark,
Creativity
the
is
cave.
creativity is when you absorb, when you are exposed to a specific word. For example, you
Yeah.
understand. In this word is used in several different types of sentences. You understand the meaning, or you develop the meaning of that word,
Yeah.
and then you can use the same word. You retrieve, you pick that word back, you select that word
Yes.
back. I don't want to use the word pick because then it can cause some sort of confusion. So you select that word whenever you want to express any other thing, but using the same word. This is what we call creativity. But in order for us to go through all this way to
Yeah.
real utterances, we need exposure. We need
Repetition.
some types of exposures. Not only,
Yeah.
as Andres said, when we're babies, it only takes like 2, 3 repetition
Yeah.
stops in order for us to do that. Okay, right. But we're not babies anymore.
Yeah.
But okay, but we need some sort, and not the same necessarily in the same kind of construction. It can be different types of constructions, different contexts.
Yeah.
Uh, because then we understand that we're going to retrieve that and we're going to produce that to describe something else, but using that word, and we're going to do this
That's so
more
true, man. Yeah.
easily once this word is used in many other types of
Yeah.
sentences. For example, the word you can be present in you are, I'm going to quote Johnny Cash, "You're my sunshine."
Yeah. Johnny
Sophia loves the
Cash.
song, by the
Yeah.
way.
That's a cool one. I
Some
prefer Folsom Prison Blues, I think.
Folsom Prison Blues is also
That's
really
a good
cool.
one. Yeah.
But you, and then you is going to be present almost every day in different kinds of.
Yeah.
Do you? What do you care? What are you doing? It's going to be present in different kinds
Yeah.
of tenses, etc., etc., etc. So this is going to reinforce the possibility for
Dude.
us to retrieve
Yeah.
that word whenever we need to use that word in different
That's
sentences
sick.
to describe different events. This is
Yeah.
creativity. If we use ChatGPT, like certain schools have been
Yeah.
claiming, like, oh, and they're not only
They're
claiming, they're
boasting. They're
boasting.
boasting, bro. Yeah.
They're
They
boasting.
are.
No, we
Yeah.
do have AI.
Yeah.
You're gonna learn. They're marketing.
You're gonna
They're
learn
they're
better.
capitalizing
Oh
on
yeah.
AI. No, because you come here and not only we're the best school, but you're also gonna learn from
Our
AI,
platform has AI to
as
help
AI and
your
etc.
kids, whatever.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. But the thing is,
Yeah.
if we use AI to substitute this entire, to replace this entire process,
Yeah.
no, we're
That's
not going
bad.
to be able to get to be
Yeah.
creative, linguistically
And you know
creative,
what, bro?
and we're doomed.
We are
There's not going to
doomed.
be any kind of
And
language learning.
only Sarah Connor will be able to save us in a couple of years. Because here's the thing, bro. I remember talking about plausibility. So
Yeah,
okay, there aren't many studies showing any kind of significance, let's say, when people use ChatGPT or whatever. There's this study. This is kind of like the biggest one now that people are talking about because it's a recent thing. So, people have been using ChatGPT and Gemini and other generative AI tools now in the last 2, 3 years, maybe. So there aren't many studies. And that's what they say. That's what they use. They say, okay, There aren't any studies proving that this is going to be bad for your brain. So, but here there's something called biological plausibility. So, since the 1940s, we know something from neuroscience. There are two things from neuroscience that came from the same guy, Donald Hebb. He is the guy who talked about long-term potentiation, which is exactly what Rudy said. If you need to create memory, you need to reinforce neural networks. So first you create synapses, right? So your neurons, they kind of reach out to each other, and then they get together, they form this region that we call synapse. And then it basically what you do there, you exchange neurotransmitters and you send information. So for you to create a memory, you have to strengthen this neural network. And he said, use it or lose it. That's what he said. Donald Hebb, right? And what is happening now is, are you using ChatGPT to improve, enhance certain things, or are you just delegating everything that you should do, cognitively speaking, to ChatGPT? So it's biological plausibility. Even if we don't have a lot of studies showing that it might be bad, we know that if you don't use those skills, if you don't go through the process, you are not going to strengthen your memories. You're not going to learn. It's kind of like, hiring a personal trainer to go to the gym and having him do the workout as while you watch. Of course it's not going to work, right?
And there's something
Yeah.
something that makes the whole scenario even worse. Because when we use ChatGPT or any other AI tool that we have out there,
Yeah.
it's a one and done thing.
Yeah.
We never use, or people tend. Okay, let's talk about students now. Students, they are going to use ChatGPT in order to get some sort of result, and that's it. I got the result. This is what my teacher wants. Boom. They're not using ChatGPT or AI in order to have access to certain kind of information and then deep dive
Yeah.
into that matter.
They're using for the
Because if
product,
you
not
do
the
that,
process, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
they are just using for results. And now it's us to blame,
Yeah.
teachers to blame. We have to be very careful with what we ask our students to bring. Because if for some reason we're focused on results, only
Bring a
results.
paragraph about. They can very easily do that on ChatGPT, right?
Exactly. So it's a one and
Yeah.
done thing. And then we are going to depend, we teachers and schools as well,
Yeah.
okay? We're the ones to blame, teachers and schools, both of us. And then if we're not very careful with the kind of exercises that we assign to them, if we're focused only on results, we are going to depend on their will to say, you know what? I remember I searched this on ChatGPT some days ago. That was very interesting. Let me get back to that and see if I can learn more about this. If we depend on their will to do that, no way.
Yeah.
Why? Because the focus of the school or the focus that we have in the classroom is on result. Is on you're focusing on
The final product. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. But what about linguistically? It depends on your activity. If you have one of those, if you assign some of those trivial activities like fill in the blanks, change the sentences, or
Yeah.
focused on the final result. What's the final
Yeah.
result? This, boom, bah, that's it. But if you have activities that actually have that actually make your students explore the language and deal with the unexpected, this is something that we talked about a lot this year in many other episodes. And sis, now is the moment for you later to add a card somewhere here to a previous episode. Like if you want to watch this, gotta click here.
Definitely, yeah.
But the thing is, so if we focus on this kind of activity only and we don't have any kind of activities that our students have to deal with the unexpected, forget it.
Yeah.
ChatGPT is going to be a tool. They are going to use it for some sort of result. It's going to be a one and off. and
Yeah.
for cognitive
Uh,
offloading
yeah.
only, and that's it. And they're going to be like, okay. And as a matter of fact,
Yeah.
our students are going to have the feeling of they're going to feel great
Oh
because
yeah.
they're going to get the grades that they wanted. Parents are
They're
going to
gonna feel
think
that
like,
they're
oh
learning.
my God, I have a
Yeah.
genius here. My son or my
Yeah.
daughter, my kid's got an A
Yeah.
in English. Oh my God, my kid is so proficient in English. And then
Yeah.
they're going to travel.
Oh yeah, and then they have to actually use the language, right? But you know, bro, that the end of this MIT paper shows exactly that. Okay, so what happened at the last iteration? The last time they actually wrote the essay. So the group that started with ChatGPT. So they used ChatGPT. They created two more essays with ChatGPT. Now they were challenged to use their brains only, working pairs with their brains, right? No ChatGPT. And the other way around too. So the ones who just wrote using their brains to write the essay, now they could use ChatGPT. Very interesting results. So if you analyze the first three, the group that used the LLM, ChatGPT, was actually quite grammatically correct because ChatGPT can write correct grammar. The spelling was perfect, punctuation was good, but two teachers used what is the method called natural language processing. So they used this method to actually check
It's NLP.
the
NLP.
composition. NLP,
Yeah,
the good
yeah,
one, not
yeah,
the
yeah, 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 yeah,
neuro
yeah.
linguistic program. Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's important. So they use that to check the quality of the essay, and they didn't know it was blinded, right? So they didn't know who had written what, used what, whatever. So they said everyone came to this variety that they felt kind of flat and cold and things like that because there was no human element there, right? The ones who used only their brains, they had more spelling mistakes, they had more grammar mistakes, of course, but they also had more tenacity and creativity and things like that because they had to use their brains. And at the end of the study, the cool thing that happened was that the ones who started just with brain, just wrote the essays with their brains, when they now use ChatGPT, they got better results because they had started building the process. Now they were using ChatGPT to kind of help them enhance that, which didn't happen with the other group. The ones who used the LLM, the ChatGPT, use the brain, just the brain, not check anything. They hadn't acquired the information from the essays and the skills, and now they got the worst results again, right? So this is interesting. It tells us that, yeah, okay, if you want to use AI, it's kind of inevitable, right, man? There isn't much we can do, but it has to do after you try to build the process by yourself. Cannot be the first thing you do. Otherwise, then maybe you're causing some cognitive deficit there in your students,
But but
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
but without a doubt, without a doubt, without a doubt. And again, what is going to be the linguistic outcome? You're not going to learn. I mean,
Yeah.
you may you may uh you may acquire the language, but you may not learn the language,
Yeah.
you know, because
Acquisition and learning. That's something that, dude. Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's
That's
we got to bring it
exactly.
back,
Yeah.
even though it sounded something that it was like, okay,
Yeah.
this kind of conversation is dead. Nobody's going to talk about this anymore because there's no relevance anymore. But it's back.
Yeah.
It's back because they are gonna. If you use Chat GPT, ah, Jesus, if you
Yeah.
use AI
Yeah.
to replace the entire process of learning the language, um, you're taking
Yeah.
shortcuts, and by taking shortcuts, something is going to be left behind.
Yeah.
And in this case, and again, this is going to give us the impression that we are very good at something when we're not. I told you in the very beginning of this episode that I used ChatGPT recently in order to get some codes because to program something for the website and etc.
Yeah.
I did, because I'm not a programmer. I have no idea how to do that.
Just like me.
Did
Yeah.
I? But that's the thing. Did I learn how to do that? No.
No. Exactly. Yeah.
Although, I had to because it was me. I told you some minutes ago.
Yeah.
Then we're going, if we depend on students' will to
Yeah.
to dive into this matter or the subject or the topic, we're doomed,
Yeah.
because I'm a freaking nerd.
Yeah.
Because I'm a freaking nerd. Then every time I got the code, and then I copied and pasted my website, and then I was like, okay, let me analyze and see if something makes sense to me,
Exactly.
you know.
Yeah.
Okay, I did that. I had an analysis of the codes, of the lines, and etc. And I learned, okay, so if I change this, this is the kind of result I get. That's not what I want to do. And then I was, I was playing with it. I was manipulating that.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. But I didn't learn how to program. If you tell me, Rudy, can you write a line of code for me right now? I can.
Exactly. It's
can.
kind of like
Rudy.
me with Italian. I use Google Translate.
Oh, come on, man. Don't.
I
come
do.
on. You're
I
talking
mean-
this to me? Seriously? You're
Yeah.
telling me
See?
you're telling me
Yeah.
that?
When I'm teaching my Italian students, I translate a couple of things.
No.
Do I learn? Yeah. See?
Why are you telling me, man?
Yeah. Exactly.
Man,
I haven't
me,
learned.
you're telling
that.
me, oh,
Yeah.
no, don't tell me
Yeah.
that. Seriously.
Because I'm not an Italian student. I use for the purpose of,
oh,
talking
man.
to. Yeah, I did. I know the very
man.
basic, but like you did, I did analyze some things that I learned. But again, I cannot have a fluent conversation with someone in Italian.
Okay,
You know?
you've just told me that you've
Yeah.
been using AI to help you with Italian, and you're
Yeah.
telling me a half Italian person, person
Yeah.
that
Well, I
you do
am
that.
married to a half
Please.
Italian person, who doesn't speak Italian
Don't-
either. So yeah.
Please don't
Yeah.
tell me that you break the spaghetti when you're making spaghetti,
Oh,
or that
no.
you smear
Oh no,
ketchup all
that
over your
domain is completely different, man. I am very typical traditional when I cook any Italian dish, like to the letter, But then,
If you tell me that you break your spaghetti when you're
oh
cooking
no,
it,
no way.
I'm not going to be your brother anymore. I'm
Dude.
going to tell your mother to disown you.
I know. I'm very respectful of the cuisine, but the language is like,
You
okay,
have to.
should I enroll in the course, wait for a couple of years so I can be able, I will be able to teach my students, or can I do it now? And some of them don't speak any English, right? But that's the thing. I haven't learned the things, all of the things that I translated a couple of times. I can tell you, just like Rudy said, I remember some stuff because I'm a nerd and I worked on them, but most of it I can't use again, because it was just
Forget it.
Yeah, I can't.
That's the thing. There was no connection.
Exactly.
And remember, a couple of minutes ago, I mentioned Goldberg's book about, and there's a chapter on creativity and word and memory for words, etc., etc.
Yeah.
The creativity that I talked about a couple of minutes ago, I cannot use that creativity. There is not going to be any kind of creativity for programming on my side.
Exactly.
Because there was no connection.
Yeah.
I didn't go through the whole thing. Then you may tell me, but Rudy, you were just exposed once. You just tried that once. No, I didn't.
You were exposed many times, but you didn't actually put the work in.
No.
The cognitive work.
There was no effort. My effort was Control V, Control C. That was my effort.
Exactly.
That was my effort. And it's the same. And it's interesting because I remember not so many years ago.
Yeah.
People were very skeptical about Google Translator. Remember?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Everybody was very skeptical. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I use Google Translator, but I know it's not the best tool. I still need to learn the language, blah, 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 blah. With ChatGPT or AI, it's the same.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be the same.
Yeah.
Because with Google Translator, and of course, Google Translator, that tool became more powerful.
Oh, yeah.
Way more powerful. But still not the best, though.
Yeah.
Not the best, though.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with ChatGPT is the same. It's very, very powerful. Very powerful. But if you use it as a shortcut or as a one and off thing, and you don't
You're
go
not
through the
learning, folks.
whole process of
Yeah.
learning anything, not only a language,
Yeah.
because the process is pretty much the same. There needs to be any kind of repetition, and then this repetition is going to make you create some sort of knowledge. This knowledge, if it's repeated very often, this can become an implicit knowledge. And
Yeah.
then if you dig deep into that knowledge, and if you learn more and you can explain that, then this is going to become an explicit knowledge. The same with the language.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a linguist. Nobody, your students don't want to be a linguist. They just want to learn the language.
They want to
uh,
be functional, you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fully functional or
Yeah.
proficient as well. Proficient, not in the sense of getting
Efficient.
a
Yeah.
certificate or a
Yeah.
proficiency certificate.
Yeah.
Proficiency in the matter of I'm able to sorry, I'm able to sit down and have a conversation on any kind
Yeah.
of aspect, on
Yeah.
any
Like
kind of topic
competent, you
these
know?
days,
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
like that. But again, if you work at an institution and this institution has been boasting about using AI to make your students learn from the AI, there's a big chance that they're not learning from the AI. The AI is learning from the
Yeah.
student. We are providing AI. The AI is making
Yeah.
connections, is making their air quotes here for those guys who are listening to
Yeah.
us, air quotes here now. They are making
Uh,
synapses, not us.
and they'll
Not us.
remember how you treated them when the robot revolution starts and Sarah Connor has to step in to save humanity, you know? But dude,
Dude, and there's one thing.
yeah.
Sarah Connor doesn't is not she's not real, man.
She's not real, right?
So we're not gonna have any kind of
Yeah.
revenger,
Avenger
avenger,
of yeah,
you
that's true.
know, to help us when the
But
machines
somebody's gonna, dude,
again. But
someone's gonna have a
look,
child like John Connor
super,
who's gonna come back
super
and save humanity, you know? Time machine, yeah.
super nerd moment here, super nerd moment here, right? In the middle of this episode,
Yeah.
I mentioned the book that's on Disal's website. Please, if you really want to get
Yeah.
that book, go there and use the promo code
Definitely.
SHOT25 to get
Yeah.
25% off of that book by Jose Ortega
And don't
Gasset,
forget
called The
the
Revolt.
Reina. É
Yeah, the
assim
Reina
que
as well.
aprendemos. In Portuguese, you can find that on
Yes.
Gisal's website.
In Portuguese for Ortega Gasset is A Revolta das Massas.
Yeah.
If we keep overusing AI, if we keep replacing AI, we're going to have a book called The Revolt of the Machines, not of the masses.
That's true.
Because what was the whole plot for Terminator, all the movies, the good ones and the terrible ones, was that they made connections. They were critical. They came to conclusions.
They learned all they had to about us.
We need to get to conclusions. We need to learn. We need to make connections. We need to use our cognition, you know? So if you're going to use any kind of AI tool, guys, we're not saying that you shouldn't use any AI tool. You have to, because it's a very powerful tool.
And it's inevitable. It's everywhere, you know?
No, it's inevitable. Of course, of course. But be wiser than the machine.
Yeah.
Be wiser than the machine. Use it wisely. Be smart about it. If you're learning a language and if you want to use AI to, AI, how can I create a sentence to explain this kind of situation? The AI is going to give you some examples on how to do that, but please analyze the sentences.
And even before, try yourself before. Make the cognitive effort. Try to make the sentence yourself, and then you can check, and then you can ask AI, is this correct, or is there a better way to say it?
And then you make fine-tuning, the fine-tuning, right?
Exactly. Bro,
fine-tuning.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Woo!
Another episode of Chá Pedagógico, folks, and I hope you enjoy this one, because we are not against the machines, but when the revolt starts, we're gonna side with Sarah Connor. I'm telling you.
I think we're gonna be the
We're
ones.
gonna be
I think
dead probably.
we're gonna be the first ones they'll come after.
Yeah, because they know we're talking about them. They will
They
have
know.
watched Chá Pedagógico when they will come back for us, man.
Yes, and guys, very important. If this is your first time watching the episode, if it's your first time here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's really cool and it's super easy. All you gotta do is click on the button that's somewhere down here called subscribe. Subscribe to the channel.
Yeah,
Click on the little bell icon, because when you click on the little bell icon, every time Chá Pedagógico is live on air, you're gonna be notified.
And
then
like
you
the
don't have
episode.
to be like,
Yeah.
and like the episode. This episode
Definitely.
was really cool. Seriously, we
Come on.
love every episode
Yeah.
we come up with, but this one was freaking awesome. Like the episode, it's really important because when you when you do the whole thing, subscribe, click on the bell, and like the episodes, YouTube is going to wonder. The AI
The AI is gonna
will understand
exactly
that this episode is really important. It's doing that we've been doing something really cool, and then YouTube is going to make this episode achieve or reach more people. That's what we want. We want to reach as many people as we can, or as many educators as we can, because this is really important. This is a very interesting topic. So do all the whole thing. And please don't forget to follow us on our socials. Andre's handle on Instagram is The Learning Cosmos, right?
And Rudy's is Mattiello Consultoria, TTL. Make sure you follow us, send us messages, tell us what you want to hear us talk about here, okay? Let us know, because we want to think about different topics. We want to make sure you folks, educators out there, you have something to think about with brain, not a machine.
And don't forget,
bro,
we do have some books. We talked about many books and many titles that are on Disal's website. So if you want to purchase the book, go to Disal's website, disal.com.br, find the books, and if you don't remember the name, the titles,
codes to it.
Talk to us. Go to Instagram, follow us on Instagram, and DM us. Say, oh, you talked about this book in the episode. What's the name of the book again? We can checking out. Don't forget to use the promo code SHA25. I think there's hashtag, right? It's
hashtag SHA25, exactly.
Hashtag SHA25, CHA25, and you're going to get 25% off.
Awesome.
All right?
Okay.
Many thanks for all of you watching us. If you're watching us live, thank you so much, Tasia. And Shayla. Shayla was here.
Oh, Shayla was here. Cool.
Shayla was here.
Awesome.
Shayla is here. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching the recording, thank you so much for watching this recording. If you're listening to us, thank you so much for listening to us. The next episode is going to be in August, at the end of August. We don't remember the date yet, but it's going to be the last.
It's the last
Sunday of August. We can't thank enough the team behind us.
Oh yeah,
Lyrica Tamidis, Maria, and all the guys from Disal. If you guys really like the episodes, in the previous episodes, it's because of them. All right,
exactly.
Thank you so much.
We are cognitive. Well, we're offloading our cognition a little bit to them so they can help us make this work. So in that case, it actually is a good thing. Okay, so yeah,
it's a good thing in this case.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Cheers, man.
See ya. See you when I see you,
bro. Thank you.